So I'm feeling pretty good right now. Our G.I. Joe classified series HasLab Snowcat is done in the books, fully funded. All three tiers were met. The money's now gone from my account. Snowcat, I'll see you this time next year. And as promised, I did not come up with a wish list of my top 10, top 20 G.I. Joe Cobra vehicles that would be great for the next year's HasLab. Instead, I decided to do something a little bit different, more world building, a top 10 list of things that I think would really add to the whole play set. And hey, let's stay within a theme. My favorite, the G.I. Joe miniseries, The Pyramid of Darkness. So I've got 10 items, not all of which related to figures. There are some in there, but let's break down my top 10 wish list items to help build out the Pyramid of Darkness right now. What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles, welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Figure Files. So, the Pyramid of Darkness is my absolute favorite thing of G.I. Joe cartoon because live action doesn't even count at this point. But I love this thing so much. And I pulled out my DVDs and I've been watching G.I. Joe episodes while we've been doing this countdown to the Snowcat. Will it fun? Will it not? Will the tears get met? And I've been watching all these episodes, some of which featured the Snowcat. So I was really hyped, really excited about it. But the Pyramid of Darkness is special to me because when they started out, there was a slow roll of G.I. Joe cartoons. We had the miniseries G.I. Joe Real American Hero. Then we had the follow up introducing the 1984 characters, The Revenge of Cobra. But in 1985, we got the great one, the Pyramid of Darkness, because not only did it introduce the Joes from my favorite wave of G.I. Joes in the Real American Hero figure line, but it also kicked off the cartoon, which was so good. And as I've been watching all of these episodes in the last month or so, I've been like, this thing's amazing. We need so much more from the cartoon. And I know they've been delivering on that front, but yeah, I'm greedy. I want so much more. I know Super 7's done a lot, but the classified series versions of this stuff is really leading the way for me. And I'm hoping that we see so much more. But the Pyramid of Darkness was such a cool idea. The miniseries opened up with Cobra actually getting a win all the way through. They successfully completed their mission. Sometimes Cobra Commander has a scheme and it's really rattling the Joes, but it's just like, oh man, we'll get them next time. And then they keep going and they finally start getting their stuff. Then somebody on Cobra betrays Cobra Commander and then messes things up. His troops were cowardly and they stabbed him back all the time. And I thought about, man, they have been doing these themes for this stuff. Right now, this year, we're getting a ton of stuff from the Master Device. We've got the snake guys with the radioactive hands. We got the polar bear. He's got the first catalytic element for the Master Device. Got Breaker, got him. He's the one I have in hand right now. He's got the lava rocks, got that. And then we got the divers 2-pack, and I don't have those, but I got to get it because, of course, they got a part of the Master Device, and that's just sneaky how marketing works on an impressionable 40 something, 50-year-old. But short of an actual HasLab Master Device, I don't know which way they can go with it in terms of building out further. I mean, of course, more figures in their cartoon colors. And I should have gone to the Weather Dominator. That was the next one. But I just happened to grab the DVD, The Pyramid of Darkness, because I want to watch that. And so many great characters in that. Alpine is one of my favorite cartoon Joes because basically everything he says is just really sarcastic. And he loves the sound of his own voice. He is so funny to me. His chemistry with Bazooka, a lot of fun too. Quick kick, running around without a shirt or shoes in the snow continues to be amazing to me. And it's just a really fun mini series. And Cobra Commander's scheme, this one might be a little bit more ridiculous, but it was kind of ahead of its time because he's basically coming up with an EMP pulse and he's just got to do it in this wacky way of setting up this pyramid of darkness. And I was thinking back to Hasbro, what they did with the Real American Hero 25th anniversary wave, and they did some really fun stuff with that. One of those were these DVD battles box sets. that allowed us to build a mass device. And they used all the miniseries, the first two, Pyramid of Darkness, and then Arise, Serpento Arise, gave you elements, gave you parts to build a mass device. It would have been great if we could have gotten this full treatment with everything else, but we did get a pretty sweet mass device out of it. And the Pyramid of Darkness one is pretty simple, but I did use these figures that came with it because these were the best versions of these guys for a long time. So in this DVD set, of course, we got the Pyramid of Darkness, the 5 episodes for that. Then we got Snake Eyes and his version 2 outfit, which we still need from the classified series line. We got an updated Major Blood, Hooded Cobra Commander. Oh no, where are my pearls to clutch? And we got Quick Kick, and we got a Cosmic. We got a control cube that helps with the Pyramid of Darkness just in micro size. And look at this, the box actually says weapons too, so that's cool. But this is 4 or 5, and then we got a really cool mass device out of it. Let me show you what you got, like the interior art. And this is from General Joe's, but this is what it all came together to build your mass device. And that's just such a cool thing. So you can see there the completed mass device. All of them had different parts where you could keep building on, and it was just like, wow, what a cool deal this is. And for me, the Pyramid of Darkness has so much cool stuff going on. I don't need a full on Pyramid of Darkness because it's just cosmic. Why do I keep saying cosmic cubes? That's Marvel. We're sticking with G.I. Joe right now. The control cubes. But there's a lot of stuff that I was like, you know what? They could do a theme around the Pyramid of Darkness that would work really well without having to worry about creating a big, massive control device like the mass device, like the weather dominator. The Pyramid of Darkness might be a little bit easier for them to execute in terms of what they could do with the line to include these different elements. So here are 10 things that I came up with for my theme of Pyramid of Darkness. Maybe we'll see this in 2027. We'll see, but maybe they'll go ahead and jump the gun a little bit and do this sooner. So first up, and I just went on to Hasbro and the G.I. Joe official channel for all these images because that was easier. So let's start off with these guys, the the water robots. These, maybe they could just get away with making them the Cobra snake armor size, but I really thought these were cool. Maybe they could make these as made to order for the G.I. Joe line. Clearly, they're not going to be big enough to fit a whole shark in there, but it'd be kind of fun to see these water robots because we can make them a little bit bigger. I'm thinking maybe 12, 14 inches. We don't have anything that huge in the G.I. Joe line. So it'd be really fun to see them showing up here in the line. And hopefully they could do a little translucent deal where they can kind of play into that, where it's like, hey, check it out. Here's what they look like. So you got that water flow going in there, and maybe it comes with a boat accessory and a mini shark. But I would love to see them because I just thought these were really cool, impressive vehicle. I don't know. They're not really vehicles. They're like robots. I don't even know how they're controlled and any of that good stuff. But they've got a fun design. I think they would be really interesting to see incorporated into a Pyramid of Darkness theme. Now, that's one of those deals where, like the snake armor, you could make it to order. So if you wanted 3 or 4, you could just get as many as you wanted. But I would love to see that just because they have such a really unique design. And since we know pretty clearly that next year's HasLab has to be Cobra based, has to be a water theme, maybe the water robots, but maybe they could be something that could complement it. So, in the San Diego Comic Con setup, they had the snake setup fighting the snowcat. Maybe we could have some water robots teaming up with whatever Cobra Sea vehicle we get. So there's an option for that. Next up, not sticking completely to vehicles, but this one I think is one that would be really, really fun to incorporate. And, he's always telling everybody to have a nice day. It's a security droid who's making sure everyone knows the password. Repeat, repeat. And Polly saves the day here. And this design for this is really fun. Now, this, of course, could be incorporated into a full-on play set where you have the spikes and the saw blades in the floor coming through. That could be a fun little diorama deal. I mean, when they've done this before in the line, I think that would be really, really cool, having the security droid robot setup here, and maybe it's got a control panel as well. But there's something they could also include. And so now I've got my water robots, I've got my security guard droid all set up there. And I'm kind of feeling setting up the blades and all that good stuff. So maybe we could really do that playset aspect of it just right, where, oh no, everything's going wrong here. Shipwreck and Snake Guys, what are y'all going to do? You don't know the password. So maybe we could just do like some bars, those those big points coming out there, and then the saw blades, which I can see if I can pull up here real fast too. But I mean, this is a crazy death trap. And I mean, they were just doing a thing, and here they go. And to be continued. So let's see what those look like. So I don't know, I'm kind of feeling the full on playset with a security guard. And I know Super Seven's already done that. They did Snake Eyes and Shipwreck in those Cobra engineer outfits. I would not be opposed to getting them, of course. Maybe they just do that as a whole exclusive, whatever. But that would definitely be something that I would love to see tying into the Pyramid of Darkness. That's my number two. And number three, I think I've got a good way for good way because this is my idea, but something that they could do. I've already mentioned this. We definitely need to have this in a Pyramid of Darkness theme setup. It's the whole cube itself. And at one point, when Flint and Lady J are trying to place an explosive on it, it opens up and it's got these tentacles. They could borrow some from Dr. Octopus from the Marvel Legends crew. But another idea that I was thinking with this is they've basically sort of done a cube type deal before with the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves gelatinous cube setup. Now, of course, it would need to be a little bit taller, a little bit wider, but you don't really need to do too much. I mean, you don't need to have parts that come out of it. It's just a basic cube, and it needs to be taller than your average Joe. And maybe just make this 12 inches, something like this. You can see they made it so it's a little translucent, but it doesn't need anything. It's just basically a box. But I think if they included the port where you could have those tentacles come in, that could work, and that can include a little extra value to it. So I think in that way, if they included those tentacles, maybe you had a little light up feature on the bottom so it could look like it was energized and charged up when it's activated. It could be kind of fun. They only need one of these because you just buy multiple cubes and you could, or you just buy one and then just put it into your different diorama locations as you go. So I thought that would definitely be something they could do and make work really easily. So there you go, my cube and the Pyramid of Darkness line of figures or accessories would not work whatsoever unless we got these fatal flubbies. And we got Breaker in his blue-ish attire. We got Mutt, Steelers coming. We got Junkyard. We need to get these guys. Now I'm thinking in a way to make this work, we have the pod. You can see that in the back with the gold top, where you can just store a bunch of fatal fluffies in there. So you'd not just have one, of course. I'm thinking three, maybe five fatal fluffies in this little compartment there. That way you've got somewhere to store them. They don't need a ton of articulation either. I'm thinking neck and their two shoulders. Call it a day. That way we can get five fatal fluffies in there, and that way you got them all squared away. Maybe you could have another figure later showing up. Maybe you have Zartan in his disguise with the whistle, and you have a swappable head with the cartoon wavy hair deal for his headpiece. Maybe that would be something else that would work. And then you can make the hand blue because that moment where he touches and the sun's reflecting off the window, and it's like, oh shoot, I don't need anybody to see, it's me here. So there you go. You have Zartan in his Colonel disguise there, or Sergeant Popper, that's his name. And there you go. So you can have the compartment, five fatal fluffies, and Zartan, and that way you can have like a just a regular random soldier official type deal, you know, little high ranking officer in your generic grunts of your classified series line. So there you go. There, that is what number four. But of course, you got fatal fluffies in one form. You've got to have them in the other one too. So let's not mess around. Number five, the fatal fluffies, full on evil. We're grown, we're adults, ready to go tear up and wreck shop here. And I wanted to include this because you can just get an idea of the accessories, the flame effect piece, the blasters with, of course, the laser effects. Then some of them also have whips. So you've got a full thing in terms of what they can do, unleashing and attacking the Joes. The Fatal Fluffies would be so much fun. And I did not want to make it where here's one Fatal Fluffy, here's an adult. That could work too, where you can just get like a, maybe you have a full pack where you get the larger size and two smaller ones. There's all kinds of exciting ways for them to execute that. So there's another way they could do with to get the Fatal Fluffies, large size, small size. But I think if you had the larger ones as a deluxe figure, you can make them taller. You can include a bunch of accessories because they have different weapons that they can use. So that would be pretty fun. And maybe give some swappable faceplates so you can have like a yelling one, a no, no, and of course something to blow the fire out as well. So there's some fun options for the Fatal Flurries. Fatal Fluffies. Fatal Flurries are a totally different thing. But then moving along, because there's so much stuff that works for fun little, oh, what could they do here? So the next thing I'm thinking of is when Roblox, Airtight, and Footloose go into the temple, and that one is actually called the City of the Dead. Had to refer to the back here of my DVD. So they trigger two traps, and the first would be the stone warriors, and of course got to have them with the red eyes and a sword and a spear axe, so we can get that too. And I think that would be really fun. Now here's another option. They could do something else that could potentially work as your alternate. So if you wanted to do a two-pack, if they're kind of feeling generous, they could also give us this. Now, the Crimson Twins unleash this part of the trap, and it's the more lightsaber skewing guards. So we get a two-pack, the stone ones and these. And that way, people like me who are crazy obsessed with this movie could army build the mess out of them and have like 8. So you could have a really quick army of both of these factions and have them fight them. And so there you go. So we got two armies that you can keep building on and building on and building on. And of course, with so many ghosts and goblins and stones and all that stuff we see in G.I. Joe random episodes, they might be nice to have to add into your environment or your backgrounds too. So, when they're raiding Serpent or all the different tombs to get the DNA to build Serpentor, you could have them in the background too. Hopefully they put Serpentor out. I'm sure that's a sore subject for people who are still waiting to get him. But come on, guys, we can make that happen. Next up is my first figure set. Now, this one, my first official one. I just randomly threw Zartan in as I was talking it out, but this one for sure. Now, we've got Winter, we got Arctic Flint, we've got Arctic Lady J. It's time to add another Arctic character. And this one would actually complete a set because he's just the third one and everybody else is wearing their standard outfits. So this one would be a full play set. It would be Bazooka in his Arctic gear. Note, Alpine doesn't need Arctic gear because he was already set and ready for it. And then we get this little ice platform that they're using, and then some sea lions, maybe 2. So that would be a really fun deal. And of course, we've already got Quick Kick. And I think we could add another rope from Alpine, and that way Quick Kick has something to throw to save them, and maybe it could connect to this piece here. And this does not need to be a massive, huge base, but just something where we can have them back to back and a couple sea lions coming on to. So I mean, how much fun would that be to include this into your snow theme? Because now I've got a snow cat, we've got Quick Kick, we've got Storm Shadow, got Crimson Guards, Snow Serpents, we've got Major Blood, we got a His Tank. We could really put this scene together. Then I can start championing, of course, for my guy Toll Booth in the bridge layer. So Bazooka and his Arctic gear, the sea lions, and the little ice platform, and let's make that a whole thing. And that'd be really fun. We've seen the Joes, the Cobras with their animals, and they're always their pets. But I think we could mix it up now and have one where they're fighting something. So that could be kind of cool and kind of fun to play around with. So there you go. Bazooka in the Sea Lions. So next up, And this thing is rolling so fast because it doesn't take a whole lot. This is number 8. Now, this is one. Now, I mentioned we don't need a full on Pyramid of Darkness playset because you don't have it. Just the cubes are really what's necessary. But in the interest of mixing things up and hopefully giving us a Destro who scaled way taller than Cobra Commander, we could get Destro in his portable Pyramid of Darkness device. Now, I'm looking at this. This is kind of like the size of a fang, the trouble bubble a little bit more. I mean, that's something that's pretty simple. But and this is something maybe they can use as base for a Skyhawk. Looking at it, they can reconfigure a few parts. I'm sure a Skyhawk is in the works. They're working on it, but here you go. And then maybe giving it a little small pyramid that you could enclose as well. So that would definitely be something fun. Destro needs a retro cartoon influence version. We've gotten the very first retro Destro, but that was before they were really doing the iconic versions. That wave with him and Lady J, that was okay. But now we've gotten the official, like, oh man, this is the definitive version of Cobra Commander. Rock and Roll, Stalker, Duke, Rakondo, Scarlet. We need that for Destro. And this would be a really good way to implement that, getting this remote Pyramid of Darkness, this portable one, and get Destro in there as well. So that would be worth to me that, was it $60 we normally see for these bases, the figure. I think that would be a great way to get Destro, the souped up version, because I feel like most collectors wouldn't go, oh man, not another Destro. This one would be the iconic best version of Destro. Last up, we've got 2 more figures to work in here. And I promise, not going to do a whole bunch of figures because this was a pretty simple one. But I got to get my guy. He is too important. And his seed is really fun to me. So I got to get Commander Slash. Got to get him in here. And I mean, he's got a scar over his face. Maybe it's a little shout out to Scarface from the comic books. Those of you who read that know all about Scarface. Of course, his scars were over both of his eyes. But this would be a really fun one. And I wanted to include him because he's a regular character. He's wearing a trench coat, little turtleneck action, and a hat. So you could also swap out some of those other heads that we're getting from the soldiers, the grunts, and just put them on here. And you've got like a random detective to add into your G.I. Joe Classified Series collection. They're doing a really fun job of expanding, incorporating other characters, not just the Joes. We're getting firefighters, we're getting Marine snipers. Eventually, we'll get that police officer. But this would be a fun one to add just so we can have a Cobra who's not in a uniform. He's got a name, and he just was responsible for a really fun scene. Now, that scene included my most wanted character from Pyramid of Darkness, one of my favorite random characters that happen to show up here. And that, of course, is the one, the only Satin, the Cobra who got away. And Satin, I mean, we got to get that hair right. That's the most important part. But I mean, she's a pretty simple, pretty basic looking figure. Maybe you put her in a 2-pack with Shipwreck and Polly for more cartoon colors or whatever. I don't care. A Satin figure is absolutely essential for my Classified Series collection. I know there are other more important Joes we need to see worked in here at some point, but we got to get Satin because she was just so fun with her messing up popular sayings, butchering the Joe slogan. Go for it, yo Joe. So love to get her. And I'm thinking maybe we get her band in there too, but I'm going too far. And then of course we got to get our San Diego Comic Con pack. We've already got Cold Slither. We need Satin and her crew of Shipwreck, Snake Eyes, Polly, and Timber in their costumes. I mean, that feels like it's gotta be the exclusive for next year, right? I mean, they're going hard on the cartoons. That just makes sense to go with Satin and her amazing band and no agitation. Absolutely. So that's what I would love to see for the Pyramid of Darkness. Some figures, some accessories, some quasi vehicles like water robots. But I think they could have a lot of fun playing around with this whole playground of the Pyramid of Darkness. They could add some elements that could work for really good background partners or elements with their statues, some characters like Slash and Satin, where they don't necessarily have to be those characters. Swap a few heads out. Oh, look, they're just background people. So That's what I would love to see because Pyramid of Darkness is such a fun, awesome mini series. Let me know what you think. Are you like, no, we got to focus, get more of the mass device out? I want to see the weather dominator parts. I want to see more characters associated with that. Or, give me your top 5, top 10 things you'd like to see associated with the Pyramid of Darkness. As always, thank you so much for watching. This episode of Lyle's Figure Files has been filed.